Test, 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 test. I'm very excited about the video this week because I never thought it was one that I was going to get to make. This video will be showing the prototype that the Static Speaks My Name started as. This is happening because in that first video, I mentioned that the Static Speaks My Name started off as a prototype, which was made for a 48-hour game jam, but that unfortunately the version I had on my computer was somehow corrupted, which is weird. You don't expect that to happen very much with digital files. And so it's just like, well, that's a thing that's lost. But after I posted that video, like literally a few hours later, a friend of mine messaged me and said, "Hey man, I think I may have a copy of your game." And I was like, "Oh shit, I don't want to get excited, but that would be amazing." He went home and he was able to basically dig up a copy and send it to me. And so now I've got a copy of this game back. So that's the power of sharing your tragedies on YouTube, I guess, is that maybe tragedy can become triumph. Thank you so much, Danny. And he's a video game developer as well. So if you guys are interested, you should go check out his stuff. I'll put some of his information on the screen. Before I get started with the video though, I have been advised that I am a fool for not asking people to subscribe to the channel. So if you like the videos that I've been making so far, you should hit the subscribe button so that YouTube will then aggressively force my videos into your feed. The other thing is I finished the first draft of my Untitled Super Secret Mystery Project, which is a TV pilot that I've been working on for the past few weeks. I wrote it quite quickly, but it's kind of because I had a lot of ideas that had been percolating with this project for at least a few months. I did it in a black notebook so that even if I wanted to write the title on it, there's no possible way I could write the title 100 times and it wouldn't show up. Okay, let's get started. So here's a quick little background for people. Sorry if you saw this in the first video, but in case you didn't, I need to just kind of repeat it. Before I put the Static Speaks My Name online as you know it, I was still kind of just learning how to make games. I was learning how to use Unity and make 3D art and program and all that stuff. And so I was taking part in some game jams. Game jams are it's a condensed time window where you're usually given a theme. All the game jams are different, but I was taking part in Ludum Dare, which is a 48-hour game jam, and then you send it in and you get judged, and you get judged in different categories. So I'd done a few of those, and I did another one here. I started this game jam with only one idea, which is that there was a puzzle where you get trapped in a room, but you can't escape. And the only way to escape is to commit suicide, turn into a ghost, and walk through the walls. As you'll see, that doesn't even make it into the game. The game kind of transformed into something different. But anyway, okay, so the point is I took part in this game jam, made The Static Speaks My Name, and felt good about it. It was kind of the first one that I thought, okay, well this is like better than the than anything that I'd made so far. So I submitted it and a few weeks later got my results back and I had scored particularly well in the mood category. I think Ludum Dare that year, it's between 2,000 and 3,000 people that take part, and this prototype came in the mood category at number 29. And a lot of comments were like, "Wow, this is like very different than anything I'd played," because I think also the game jam games, it's a lot of highly mechanical stuff. So to do like a weird, moody, Lynchian story thing, whatever you want to call this thing, was just it set it apart from a bunch of the other games. So I got good reactions from people who played the Game Jam game, and I had been thinking like I need to make a real game, not just a Game Jam thing. And so after I got the good reaction, I was like, well, I should expand this into something bigger, and then the rest is Static Speaks My Name history. Let's go ahead and get into playing the game. It's very short. I was actually surprised at how short it was. I was like expecting there to be more to it. It's kind of almost embarrassing. But you have to remember this is made in 48 hours. You know, the full game of The Static Speaks My Name, it takes like 10 or 15 minutes to play, and that took me like fucking 4 months to make. So imagine how much I could make in 48 hours. Loading, loading. Right away you can see a resemblance to the finished game, but I guess I was going for starting you in a more positive headspace. This is, I guess, some kind of imitation of heaven, as opposed to the kind of dark creepiness of the space that you start in the full game. And here, one difference you can see is that in the full game, you start seeing the static ahead of you, but here it's behind you. And this looks exactly the same except for the colors. And let's listen to that sound getting louder as you go towards it. I don't think that's in the full version of the game. I think I put that in just to make sure that people knew they were doing the right thing as they approached it, you know, increasing the sound so that people knew, okay, I should be approaching it. Maybe it does do that in the full version of the game. But yeah, it looks to me like that's basically the same asset. Like I just took this over and put it into the full version of the game and changed the colors, obviously, but it doesn't look, literally looks exactly the same to me. So no text pops up. I think again, that might not be exactly the same font. Maybe I rewrote it, but it looks pretty similar. Okay, welcome to the prototype of the Static Speaks My Name. A few things are going to jump out at you right away. First off is that at this point, I didn't know how to do anything with lighting. So there are actually no lights. This game is lit with, I believe Unity calls it just ambient lighting, or maybe there's directional lighting in some way. It's like one big light coming from a direction, and anything that the light is hitting has one intensity of light and the other has one intensity of shadow. But it is definitely weaker for not having moody lighting. That was something on the full version of Static that I worked a lot at, trying to get the lighting to a good place. So yeah, you start here. I mean, 3:22 a.m. I can't remember if that's the time in the full game, but yeah, same premise. You wake up at 3:22 a.m. There's an alarm in the full version, but yeah. So no poster. I didn't have time to really do any cool art. I mean, God, I look back at this and Jesus Christ, look at my fucking terrible art skills. Like, I mean, I know I had only 48 hours, but still, I did not know what the fuck I was doing with art. I remember like things like this clock were just, it was like, fuck, how am I going to bevel those edges? How am I going to make this thing not just be a block? Because I didn't know what I was doing. You can see here, this is the original version of the palm trees. I think the version that is in the full game is much better, but there is something creepy to these. This is something that I said in the first video that I made, but the palm tree art was one of the last things to go up. I put this in with about 30 minutes remaining because I made this whole house, which you're about to see. It's not very big, but I made this whole house and I was like, okay, it looks super fucking empty. So I need to like put stuff up on the walls. And so I was gonna make like 3 or 4 or 5 different paintings and fill them up, but I didn't have time to do more than just these palm tree paintings because the deadline was coming up very, very fast and I had to submit or else I wasn't going to be qualified that year. So I just started making copies of this palm tree painting, and the more I made, the more I started thinking, wow, this is actually pretty cool. Like it started becoming creepier the more I put up. So I just kind of leaned into that decision and decided that this weird palm tree painting was going to be everywhere. And obviously that's what ended up being the central premise of the full version of the game, was that this guy was obsessed with this one palm tree. So it's kind of cool how, you know, they say necessity is the mother of all invention, and that really was the case for these palm trees because I didn't go in with the plan. And that's actually what's really fun and cool about game jams is you go in with very little plan and you improvise on the fly and you come up with something interesting. Or you don't, but hopefully you do. You know, a lot of times you do. So, all right, let's go see the game. This game is going to be over very quick. I think you're going to be surprised. But also, oh yeah, look at that. When you turn around, That's some very good programming there. It has nothing to do with looking at the door. It just has to do with if you get into a collision box. Let's see if we can open it backwards. Yep. So the thing you'll notice also is that the house setup is actually very similar. Like it's got the same structure where you've got this room, which is basically the same size, a hallway that you walk into. So I really, yeah, it didn't change that much. All right, so we come out here. Let's close the door if we can. I guess we can't. Again, great programming. Another palm tree painting. You see the difference here. Uh, this is obviously, there was no space. This is probably, I don't know why I made this choice. I don't really love the fact that you're floating in space, but whatever. Look at that couch. Scrunched right up into the wall. Doesn't even fucking matter. More palm tree paintings, and here we got the TV, and you will see something quite embarrassing that is not scary or cool that I put in this version that I'm very glad I took out in the final version. Oh my god, a face! Ooh, so scary! That burr sound that Cad mentioned, I do admit it's a bit much. It's kind of grating. I think the music in the final version is quite a bit better. And also, I should say, I did everything for this prototype version. So I'm required for these game jams. You're required, at least this one specifically. You do all the programming, all the art, all the design, all the writing, all the music, everything. So I made this music. I made all the sound effects. I don't think there's that many sound effects, but I made the music, and I'm like not a good musician. I just basically I have a little like $20 keyboard, and I would you know, open up Logic Studio or whatever and find a nice one sound is probably like an oboe, and like find a low pitch and just hold down the key and then maybe transition to another chord. So that's one reason why the music is not particularly great. But I do think that sort of sustained thing you hear going throughout, I liked the idea of it, and we definitely kept that in the full version of the Static Speaks My Name. It's got that kind of, I don't know, it has like a formless, like there's no beginning or end to the music, which I think is cool, and in general is I think something that game music does a lot more than traditional music. All right, so let's go. This is literally the last room of the game, so it's like really fucking short. So we open up. We open up. Oh my god, more palm tree paintings! What is this man's obsession with palm trees? In the bathroom. So this is in the full version of the game. Whoops, spoilers. In the full version of the game, this would have been where like the kitchen is, I guess. So obviously this was not made into a bathroom. The bathroom was moved into your room. Oh no, can we see between the floors? Oh, was that intentional? Yeah, definitely. That was definitely. It's a, you know, it's a comment about the fragility of the homes we make. All right, so we've got this bath here. So yeah, as you can see, in the prototype version, you don't hang yourself, but you in fact kill yourself in a bathtub. So take your last bath. Hit E. Turning on that bath, getting inside that bath, floating inside, and then let this body rest at last. I have to hit E again. No creepy sound effect of strangling. Wow. Everyone is given full permission to be laughing right now. God. You know what's funny too? At the time, this was such an accomplishment for me. Like, I was so bad at 3D modeling that I was just, I felt like that. I bet you I spent 4 hours making that model there and was just like, you know what, this was really impressive. I mean, to this day, I'm bad at modeling humans. It's so much more like, to me, modeling furniture and environments and stuff is like no problem, but God, modeling humans, I still don't really understand how people do it. But this, like, at the time was just like, I this was very good for me. So it's, you know, whatever, made in 48 hours. So you let your body rest. So now you're like, I guess you're a spirit. This I guess is where it draws on the original idea of like, okay, you kill yourself, leave your body behind. I mean, that is kind of a cool thing, I think. You leave, your body stays there and you get out and you're still like moving though you can't go through the walls. So we go in here and that's kind of cool. The roofs float off and you're like, "Oh, what's going on there?" So yeah, the roofs just float away and then you just get transported out here. So this, I think this is where I drew on the theme of the game jam, which was connected worlds, which you know in the full version of the game, you end up in this space and then you walk up to the balls of static and you can go into them and in theory you're going off to play those other stories, but obviously the game ends. This I think is kind of cool. So I guess in this version of the game, maybe these balls of static or whatever represent like your soul or something. I can't really remember my intention, but when you move, this ball moves with you. So it's kind of cool in a way. Then you just can go up to these different TVs and it says choose your next path, which is a little bit more on the nose than I made it in the full version of the game. And do you walk into it? No, I guess you hit E to interact. So you hit E, and then the game goes the end, and then you go online, you vote, and say, "Wow, what a cool game! What a cool mood! You should make this into something bigger." So there it is. That's the prototype made in 48 hours. As I go back and play it again, I'm underwhelmed with how simple it is. Hopefully, seeing this will serve as an inspiration to you to show you what humble and shitty beginnings the Static Speaks My Name had, and to let you know that it just the first version was not anything to write home about. It was just so simple and didn't have a lot of the stuff that the final version had. Making games is a very iterative process. You flesh out with big details and then you go over it again and put in smaller details and then again smaller details, and so you live inside that world for a long time before anyone has to see it. I guess my point is you have a lot of space to make things better, so don't despair when something you're making, when the first version sucks, because a game sucks right up until you ship it, and it's sometimes after you ship it as well. But there's a lot of room for making things better. It just kind of takes time. Okay, well, there's nothing else I can think of at the moment to share about that. If you have any questions about the prototype, post them in the comments below. I'll answer anything I can think of. And I will make the download for this game available. I'll post a link in the description of the video. So if you're interested to have a wild 3 minutes of playtime, then it'll be available for you. Thank you for everyone who has been watching, and hit that subscribe button, y'all.